Not Another Samoosa Run, deur die skrywer Nadia Cassim, bied 'n humoristiese maar dog aangrypende blik op die druk waaronder vroue leef, vasgevang tussen die verwagtinge van kultuur en gemeenskap en hulle eie behoefte aan onafhanklikheid. Nou siende dat ons Vroue Maand vier, het ek dit goed gedink om Nadia ateljee toe te nooi om hierdie boek te bespreek. So, goeiemôre, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us in studio today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, I have to say, when I saw this book on social media, I saw a picture of it, and I immediately felt like I wanted to read it and to discuss it as well, because I think the title makes it very interesting. But before we get to that,
yes.
I think what is interesting is the fact that there's a samoosa recipe on page 217. Why did you decide to include that?
Okay, so the samoosa recipe is not your conventional samoosa recipe.
Yes.
It's a samoosa recipe for self-love, because the book is all about empowerment, especially for Indian women, who struggle sometimes to find their voice in the community.
Oh, that's lovely. Such a lovely way of looking at it. And I think another thing is there's a glossary as well, because obviously this book is based on the Indian culture. So there's different terms and names and stuff like that. So, and I think that's also interesting to just explain it to the reader as well, right?
Yes. So when we speak, as Muslims especially, we use a lot of Arabic words.
Yes.
Sometimes we use some Hindi words and stuff like that in our dialogue. So it was important to keep the text, authentic in the book, and then to also allow readers to be able to reference and go back and say, okay, what's this? How can I better understand what she's trying to say?
It's absolutely remarkable. Okay, so not another samoosa run. I know that there's a definition for it at the back of the book, but how would you explain it to the viewers?
Okay, so firstly, a samoosa run is basically a matchmaking event that happens between two families. It's a very traditional thing, and mostly traditional families adhere to it, where, they feel that their daughter and their son would make great marriage partners, and they try to introduce them in a setting which doesn't allow them to do anything that is considered wrong, in the religiously, And the book is about a 27-year-old divorced woman whose mother is determined to get her remarried again because she feels that, being divorced creates stigma. It's not very nice for her to be divorced in the community. And so she sets her up with Adil, who's a bachelor, but he's obviously holding a life-changing secret, which could either, make the relationship collapse or, who knows, she may come around it.
And that's part of the whole journey and adventure to find out what exactly that secret is.
Yes.
You've dedicated the book to your mom as well.
Yes. Now, my mom is my greatest cheerleader. And even when I talk about her, I kind of feel emotional, because she's read so many drafts of this book as well. She's such an empowered woman herself. She has broken all forms of tradition. She's just a lovely mentor as well for me.
Nadia, I want to stand still for a moment, because one of the most important issues that you address through this novel is the amount of pressure that women face, when it comes to culture, maybe religion as well, and in societies. Why did you feel the need to address that issue in this way?
So the book is a little bit funny. Well, a lot of people have found it humorous.
Yes.
I didn't know it was that funny, actually. So I'm really glad. I wanted to bring up a very heavy topic, because my community is still very stuck in tradition, and very cultural as well. And, with religious beliefs as well, that adds pressure to a modern Muslim woman. And I felt that a lot of women in my community don't have a voice or don't have that outlet to be able to express their concerns around finding the midway between tradition and modernization. And I wanted to bring up this in the book in a palatable way, so make it a bit satirical. People can maybe consume it in a way that is more digestible.
And was it difficult to combine that heavy topic or issue with the humor?
It was initially because the book in its first draft was very heavy.
Yes.
And it took many rewrites for me to tone it down with the guidance of obviously a mentor and my publisher's advice. Because on its own, it was quite heavy. So the humor just sort of slipped in there, I suppose, in the rewrites.
All right, so let me ask you this. How long did it take you to write this book?
Well, about 7 years. Because you go through rewrites, you go through redrafts, and you try to make it what the publisher feels is right for the readers.
Yeah, I mean, I've got so much respect for you because that's a very long time.
Yeah, thanks.
But I think you can be proud, and I want to congratulate you with a wonderful. I think it's an adventure as well. I mean, it takes you on a journey. It's a different kind of journey, but it's also an adventure, and I think that is what a book should be all about. Yes. Let's talk a bit about the main characters.
Yes. Oh, so Tasneem. Yes. Like I said, she's divorced. She's a psychology student, so she ended up giving up her studies in order to get married. To her first husband. And now she wants to reclaim her identity by following her passions.
Yes.
So it's basically around her journey to reclaiming her identity and basically also standing up to authority, which is her parents.
I think we've referred to this a little earlier, but the novel also highlights the tension between tradition and personal independence. So how much of that conflict is reflective of your own observations or lived experiences?
Wow, that's quite a question, because I think a lot of what my character goes through is things that I have myself gone through. So I'm writing from personal experience, having also been divorced, also being pressurized, in the community because you don't sort of fit in anymore. And it's also about, because I'm a rule breaker. Let's put it that way. I kind of go against the norm.
Yes.
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 And I think for me, it was so important. I think a lot of my main character is me in a way, in the way that she tries to defy tradition.
So what would you like the readers to take away after reading this book?
Well, I think my community, I want them to be more introspective. I want them to take a hard look at the way in which we are conducting ourselves, in this day and age. And outside of my community, I wish people had a window into my community to understand, that we're not, I think people would be able to relate to this book no matter where you come from, especially if you come from close-knit communities. So maybe just for them to also understand we are humans and we sort of, have the same conflicts and issues that they do.
And also a couple of life lessons to read about, right?
Yes, definitely. 100%.
Yes. Is there one that you would like to maybe point out?
I think the biggest, like you mentioned, empowerment. So
Yes.
I think for me that is the biggest thread in this book. And it's self-love. And it's choosing yourself over and over again. No matter who you are, male or female, and not let others define you.
This is your debut novel. What are your future plans? Are you planning to write another one?
Yeah, I've got another book that's already been written, but it's completely a different genre, and half of another book, which is also women's fiction. So yeah, it's about finding the right way forward, especially when it's a different genre, because not all publishers publish the same thing.
And your target audience, because I know it's about women empowerment, but who would you suggest or recommend should go and read this book?
I think, I don't want to say any age group or any gender, because in my community, I want the men also to read it. And I think they have started to read it. I've had some DMs.
Yes.
I want it, I think male and females, anyone who is struggling maybe, to fit in and find their voice in their community, I would recommend the book.
And then lastly, from a writer's perspective, do you think that there should be more focus on these very important issues and that it should be written more about?
I think definitely yes. I think, and especially with people of color, because there's not enough literature out there, which delves into our communities and showcases it in honest ways. And but I think, we as women authors as well, we are stepping more into our light, and we are definitely embracing it, new narratives, which is fabulous. I love that.
And I think it's such an inspiring story, especially since we are still celebrating Women's Month.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning and driving all the way from Johannesburg. It's been such an honor.
It's been an honor being here. Thank you so much.
And thanks for the journey and adventure.
Thank you.
Nou ja, jy kan ingeskakel bly, want net hierna bespreek ons een van Suid-Afrika se wonderkruie. Nou, ek gaan dit nie weggee nie, maar maak solank vir jou 'n koppie rooibos. En terwyl jy besig is, maak ook seker jy gaan volg ons op sosiale media platforms en onthou ook om ons YouTube kanaal te besoek indien jy weer na 'n gesprek wil gaan kyk.